In today's episode, I'm going to take a break from analyzing other companies within the fitness industry and give you guys a very intimate moment of self-reflection as I analyze the 4 biggest fuck-ups I've made in my time as a microgym owner. And while taking a nostalgic walk down failure lane is tons of fun, my goal is that you guys are able to watch this video and learn from me and make better decisions than I did if you ever find yourself in a similar situation. So get ready for me to crush a piece of humble pie, because this is episode 12 of the What the Fuck Gym Talk Show. Happy holidays, everybody. Now listen, this episode, I've been wanting to do this for a minute, and I probably should be drinking for this episode because this is definitely going to induce some level of PTSD as I recount all the serious fuck-ups I've made, but you caught me at a weird recording time. I've got some important shit I got to do after this. Can't be boozed up, so I promise double boozing in the next episode. Double boozing, but for now we're just sticking with some good old coffee. But let's go ahead and get into it. Real quick though, guys. I need to go ahead and give a quick little background for some of you guys who might be newer to the channel or to WTF in general. So here's a quick 15-second background. In 2011, I opened and grew a very successful CrossFit gym until I purchased some new commercial real estate property here in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2016. I then set out on a very lengthy 18-month process to create a brand new model which would later become known as Urban Movement. Now, most of the mistakes I'll be referencing today come from my early days, but the last one will be one of my most recent serious misfires that cost me dearly. So let's kick off the business roast of me by going into mistake number 4, shitty finance deals on equipment. Those of you microgym owners that are watching this, we all know the early days of when we first got started. You need equipment for your facility, but you're broke as fuck. That's a problem. So you hit up the old Google machine to find out what's available to help a budding entrepreneur who's in a cash-strapped scenario. And what you'll find are a slew of fitness finance companies that offer a rent-to-own model where you'll sign into an agreement with them, they'll purchase your equipment, and then you pay them a very hefty finance charge over the next several years. Now, once that note is paid off, the equipment is all yours. Sounds like a good deal, right? And when you don't have the cash yourself, this is a great and sometimes the only resource available. Until you take a minute and open your goddamn eyes, do the math, and realize you're paying a 35% interest on this equipment over the next 4 to 6 years. It's definitely not a solid business decision, but it's one that I made not once, but twice in my early days of opening up my gym. The first time I did this was at my first facility, my very first brick and mortar, and I financed $10,000 worth of equipment, which at that time was, I'd never bought anything even close to that expensive ever. And I'm pretty sure I financed that for just under $16,000. Looking back on that now, why someone didn't punch me in the face and stop me from doing that, I have no idea. Or how was I not smart enough to not see what a bad deal that was? But it gets better, because not even 2 years later, I did another deal, this time for something like $8,000 worth of equipment, and at the end of the term, it ended up costing me $13,500 is what I think it came out to. That's like a 40% fucking finance charge. But listen, to my defense, I was a fucking idiot. And yeah, that's it. Like, that is literally my only defense. And I wasn't a fucking idiot because I paid more for something in order to get it financed because I didn't have the cash. That was more of a victim of my circumstance and bootstrapping my business like so many of us do. I was an idiot because I believed in my heart and soul that this equipment would be the thing that would be the unlock for my business's growth. I truly believed I needed it. That without this fancy rig and some GHDs and these expensive barbells, there was no way I was going to be able to be successful in my facility. And this is a common misbelief to young entrepreneurs in the fitness industry, that more or better equipment is some magical ingredient that leads to success, which it is almost always 100% of the time not. Sure, do you need an initial equipment outlay if you're going to open up a brick and mortar fitness facility? Of course you do. But if you're trying to open a microgym without any money for equipment, The best piece of advice I can give you is to slow the fuck down. Grind and hustle your way to saving that cash. Be smarter with your money. And then put yourself in a position to buy that equipment in full. Or hell, at least put 50% down in the cash that you've saved and the other 50% on a personal credit card, something that you know you can pay off in the next 60 days. Because looking back on it now, the amount of money I paid for that equipment and my early immaturity as to what equipment I actually needed combined for a complete horrible utilization of the most limited resource I had, which was money. Next up, I've got another money-based mistake, number 3, not separating business money from personal money. And because I was obviously so damn good at money management in the early days of owning my business, it's no surprise that I, like most owners, constantly used my business checking account as a piggy bank for my own personal expenses. And then just chalk it up of, oh, don't worry, it's a business expense.
$430,000 fucking dollars in one fucking month.
Good morning. They're business expenses. Relax.
Business expenses?
Yes.
But when I tell this story at a conference or I'm talking with a group of microgym owners, I refer to this now as my blue card, red card dilemma. So when I first set up my business, I went down to my local Bank of America and they set me up with a business checking account. And that comes with a blue debit card. Any of you guys who bank with BOA, you recognize the blue debit card. But I also had my red debit card. This is for my personal expenses. This was the account I've always had. However, in my early days of running my gym, I found myself using my blue debit card on every single purchase, whether it was business or not. My personal rent, blue debit card. Drinks at the bar, blue debit card. I was using this all the time. And I just justified it to myself by saying, oh, no big deal. I'll write it off as a business expense. And I thought like I was some witty, cool entrepreneur beating the system. Little did I know I was just a fucking idiot. And what I should have been doing is transferring money from this account to my personal account as a salary or a distribution or as an allowance if you want to think of it like that. That would have allowed me to keep the appropriate amount of funds in the business and not constantly robbing it to pay for my personal bullshit. I would have had a much better idea as to what monies I actually had that were business related, what monies I had earned that were personal related, and as the business grew, I could have created a nice compensation plan to slowly and steadily increase that allowance for myself personally. But mixing these two together and utilizing the blue one primarily, I never actually really knew the health of my business. I liked using the blue one more because the checking account balance here was always fatter than the one on my personal. And we all know that feeling when you go to check your balance, it doesn't feel good to see double digits. So relying on this blue one constantly made me feel like, I've got money in the bank. I'm straight.
I got money in the bank. Yeah. Shout out what you drink.
But guess where that leaves you? With a piss poor business account balance due to the fact that you're incestually mingling expenses personal versus company. So instead of that entire clusterfuck, I recommend you sit down with a bookkeeper. I highly recommend my friend Aaron Smith over at Insight Tax, who specializes in microgyms. Get somebody to help optimize your bookkeeping and create a responsible pay structure for yourself so you can stop robbing the business and set yourself up personally for success as well. Now let's move on to a mistake many of us make. Number 2, moving into a larger facility way too fucking quickly. So if your story is anything like mine, from the day you opened up your business, you put your head down, you worked hard, you worked smart, you grew your business quickly. And before you know it, your classes are busting at the seams and you far exceeded all of your sales goals. Like I still remember it to this day, like fantasizing about a larger facility that would allow me to run more simultaneous classes and create new programs.
So much aerobics in here. So many activities.
So, being aggressively immature and premature in my business decisions back then, I decided to upgrade from 1,800 square feet to 7,000 square feet. And yes, I decided to do this 390% increase in square footage after one measly year of success, which is the perfect example of blowing your load early in business.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, shit. We shouldn't do this.
Did you just ejaculate?
No, this.
Because, kids, what happens when we get bigger spaces? Say it with me now. We get bigger expenses. And was I actually financially ready to go from my base rent of $2,100 to $6,500 just in base rent? Not exactly. Actually, not at all. And while it obviously turned out okay, I was tempting fate with my business and putting us in a very potentially detrimental situation. But even today, like looking back on it now, even though everything, worked out, I would have much rather had someone teach me how to increase my operational capacity and move into a slightly larger space instead of 4Xing my current one. I would have been leaner, more profitable. Hell, at this point, maybe I'd own 2 buildings instead of just one. There was a lot of business upside taken off the table the second I tried to flex and show off to everybody how successful I was by moving into a space way too big, way too early. And finally, we hit the number one fuck up in my microgym owner career, underestimating how challenging it is to actually rebrand a business and create something new. So this is the granddaddy of all my serious microgym owner fuck-ups. And remember earlier when I talked to you about I owned a CrossFit gym and I later evolved it into this brand urban movement? Well, even though I thought I had given myself ample time, had socked away enough money within the budget to complete this rebrand, and created what I thought was a brilliant rebranding strategy, I quickly realized how badly I undershot this entire thing and was in no way ready for the kick in the dick this entire rebranding process would be.
You know what he did? He kicked him in the penis.
And let me clarify here. I didn't simply change my logo and get a new color scheme. We did that too. But I completely overhauled my business. The public-facing aesthetics, all the way to the inner workings of the fitness model itself. So I go ahead and buy this building and I completely upfit it to this brand new model that I'm going to create. But that's it. It's only in my head. I've only created it in my head and was trying to create an entirely brand new group fitness experience from that. And while the creation process was beyond anything I was ever going to be prepared for, the hardest part was taking a pre-existing large customer base and re-educating them about the changes that were coming in the way that they consumed group-based fitness classes. I had not properly planned for how long it would take to rewire current customers and how many customers didn't want to be rewired. We moved into our new facility and completed the rebrand in 2017. But I'll admit it, and in full transparency, we actually didn't complete the rebrand until early 2020. Actually complete it. Get everything moving in a way where things were operational, profitable. All the systems clicked. We had the right customers in. The old customers had left. It took more time than I had ever thought it was going to. And not just time, money. Lots and lots of money. Way more money than I had budgeted for this project. And between those 2 dates, when we got going in 2017 till now, we've lost a ton of customers who were not picking up what we were putting down with our new service. Now, it's a positive outcome because we've gained so many more with the new model, but my bank account wasn't ready for the hit that we took. And that's in addition to spending an absorbent amount of money on changes, things we're doing differently in the building, new kinds of equipment, new layouts, and then having to redo all those changes because I wasn't patient enough and I didn't give enough careful and thoughtful consideration to these factors in the planning process. Like most entrepreneurs are when they get energetic about a new idea, I did not give enough respect to the creation process and what it actually takes to create something new in your genre. But we obviously survived. We made it through. We're here now. We're expanding with our license model, and it's all got a very happy ending now. But looking back on this process, knowing what I know now, I would have spent way more time in the early stages, reaching out and learning from others who had actually gone through this process. I should have been flying out and getting on the phone with anybody who had completely overhauled their brand to learn from their mistakes instead of making my own. Many of you know that I put on a huge rebranding summit back in 2019 called the Self-Made Summit, where I brought in some of the top names in the fitness industry that have gone ahead and rebranded and evolved over the years to teach other microgym owners what I didn't know, how to do it. How to do it smart, how to do it efficiently. But fuck, if I would have just had the foresight from the beginning of that process to do that then, it would have saved me hundreds of thousands of dollars and not wrecked 18 months of my life with a level of stress that was so high, I was having to chew 3 Benadryl a night just to sleep. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right, Stu? I don't know, maybe. I'm obviously here today. We live to tell the tale. But if I'm sitting here and I'm making a video for any microgym owner who is considering any of these things or is running into these same fuck-ups I made, hopefully you're able to take some advice from me and not make the same mistakes. Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. And until I see you in the next episode, have a great fucking day.